You found the WMIX Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 and WMIXSports.com. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. The Saturday Sports Show has been recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the top radio programs in the state. That means the very best mix of local sports content is right here. From the powerhouse on Broadway, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
Saturday Sports Show on WMIX. AM 940 and online at WMIXSports.com. Denny Zerwinski talking. Mike Richardson alongside. Jeff Crow also in the studio as well, pushing the buttons. Chris Hugo on assignment. Of course, the Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
As we get ready to go, the next to last weekend in June, it's
Going to be a little humid, I think, today. I'm not sure.
Humid.
Not sure exactly what the temperature is going to end up being, but the temperature is not bad right now. But I think the humidity is going to be pretty high today.
It's going to be pretty high. Of course, lots of things going on in the area today.
Not only that, hey, that sounds good. All right, boy, Reese. Okay.
I was getting used to that little.
I was. It brought back memories.
Airplane.
Won't say what. Summertime, when you start putting together the show and you start looking around in June, because we like to focus on high school sports, you start looking around Monday, Tuesday, and you start doing things and you go, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? What are we going to discuss? What's going to happen? You know, you start thinking Monday and Tuesday, you're like, golly, there's really not much to talk about. But then all of a sudden, by the time you get to Wednesday, Thursday, you sit here and you go, oh, yeah, there's a handful of things to talk about. Things start happening everywhere. Surprises for me this week out of the blue. Won't say what yet. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But we'll always find something to talk about, no matter if it's June or January, Mike, when the high school sports is going on.
Yeah, and, you know, we always tie that in with the college and professional, but mostly high school as much as possible. And now, you know, you're in the midst of baseball season, but the NBA just wrapped up. Hockey's going to be wrapped up next week, or this week coming up, actually. So, yeah, you just got to try to do a little surfing and just think about a few things, and then some of the ancillary things will be taking place this summer. A lot of different things going on, and you know, we'll find a few topics to discuss and have some interest from our listeners.
Yeah, sports goes year-round, never stops. It's always on a rotating basis, no matter what level it's at. It's that time of year in the summer where, you know, the contact days are hot and heavy. Everybody is playing, practicing, tournament games, camps, 7-on-7s. I know Benton football is in Rantoul the last couple of days at Camp Rantoul. They're working on football up there, something a little different to get away, do some team bonding. You got schools going to, as I said, SIU today for volleyball. You've got some schools that are at Murfreesboro High School today. We'll get to that in just a second for high school boys basketball tournaments. You have referees. We'll get to that in a second, are working on their craft to get certified and get better. Although, you know, we kid. Some of them are certifiable. We kid that, though. One in here is certifiable. All these things going on. It's the next to last weekend in June, a couple weeks away from the 4th of July, which for me is kind of like turn 2 of the summer break. Turn 1 for me is the U.S. Open Golf Tournament. Turn 2 is the 4th of July, and then you start going around the track. But anyway, we found lots of things to talk about today, and one of the things wrapping up we'll have out of the gate, Tim Kraft, who's a guest here on the Saturday Sports Show, the DuQuoin High School head baseball coach. He's been selected to coach in the Southern Illinois Baseball Coaches Association All-Star Game today for the seniors. That game will start at 10 a.m. at Heron at Johnson Field. A nice complex. Of course, Mount Vernon Rams baseball team about a month ago won a regional down there, also played a regular season game. They're going to play a seniors game down there at 10 a.m. Tim Kraft is going to be one of the coaches in that game. So we're going to have him on because following that seniors game at 10 a.m., the juniors will play around 1 p.m., and there's a lot of local area baseball talent there as well. This past week, Mount Vernon High School hired a new soccer coach, and his name is Jim Duncan. He was hired at a board meeting earlier this week. He will take over the reins for Coach Harrison and take over the Mount Vernon soccer program. Duncan, a name synonymous with the program in recent years, with Joe Duncan playing at Mount Vernon High School, and Jim Duncan is now the head coach after coming with some experience from Lake College. So we're going to talk to him about being hired as the new coach at Mount Vernon High School. Now you're going to catch a theme here over that guest and the next two. Matt Patterson, who's always been a guest here on the Saturday Sports Show, is moving up another level. He's had a very successful career as the softball coach, baseball coach, basketball coach for both boys and girls at Woodlawn Grade School. He's going to move across the tracks, as they say in Woodlawn, to the high school. He was hired this past week as the head coach of the Woodlawn Lady Cardinals basketball program. So he will join us around 8:40. Around 8:50, a surprise. I haven't seen this anywhere, haven't seen it anywhere written, haven't seen it anywhere socially, so we might be breaking this out there for the first time, and we've put it on Facebook as well already as our guest list. But Chad Harper will join us at the 8:50 part of the first hour, because he is changing positions. I was in the right place at the right time Monday night and heard this name come bounding about, and a little coup is Chad Harper. We won't say where or what yet, but Chad Harper is going to be coaching something and being somewhere a little different next year. We won't say what or where, but it was a shock. It was a surprise. I know it spun my head. Usually, I considered it. Let's see, what did I think of this as, Mike? I considered it like you have these guys going for free agents in professional sports, baseball. And all of a sudden you hear about these individual or invisible teams that come in at the last second and make a barn rush. That's kind of how I thought this. I won't say where or what for Chad Harper, but it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, and again, I can't say a whole lot right now either, so
right.
We'll let that go on. But you're right. That was that had to be a pleasant surprise for you when you heard that, and I'll let it go at that, and we'll move on. Moving
on, we'll talk to Chad Harper about 8:50. Around the top of the hour, we'll talk about our social media question of the week. We'll get to that in just a little bit. 9:15, our final guest, of course, as we call in the anchor position here on the Saturday Sports Show, Mike Austin, who is a state quality official in high school basketball. He does some junior college as well. He is helping with Rick Runge run the Egyptian Officials Association IHSA three-man clinic for basketball referees at Murfreesboro High School. Actually, they're underway already. Lots of games, lots of teams going on down there. Of course, most people will be interested in the basketball. You have Murphy versus Woodlawn at 9 a.m., Chester Trico at 10 a.m., and other games going on down there all day today at Murfreesboro High School. The thing about it is, and talking and reading with Lynn Navarra, who's the athletic director at Murfreesboro High School, and I exchanged texts yesterday with Mike Austin, a way for the officials to get down there, they get their clinic in for the summer to improve, and also for them to work together in a three-man crew and learn new things that are going to be emphasis for this upcoming basketball season.
I think a lot of people take it for granted that when we talk, especially on our show, we talk a lot about the athletes, the coaches, people like that. Now, I think our program, we do go out of the way to include a lot of officials, any sport, referees, umpires, you name it. But people don't realize these guys have off seasons as well, that they need to work on things just as much as the players do. If they want to hone in on their sport, there's only ways to get better, and that's actually having clinics to do it. Some of the guys moving up, some, say, junior high level, who's only been in two-man crew, they want to progress up the ladder. You got to get used to a three-man crew. You've got to do different things. You have different areas to see on a court now, and I just think it's tremendous that these guys get together as much as they do, because they want to put on a good show when they're on the court as well, to make the game, the sport, whatever they're into at the time, seasonally, they want to make that as good for the fans to watch as the players and coaches themselves.
And as we talk about that, mentioned on Twitter, the officials right now are currently in a room just off the gym at Murfreesboro High School. They're actually sitting in class. And there's notebooks out, there's papers out, there's discussions. You see them, they're ready to go to officiate games starting at 9 a.m. I just retweeted that on Twitter at WMIX Sports. We can follow us there, where you see Rick Runge talking to the officials, and they're going over the techniques and the cues of what goes on and different things. And we'll be tweeting different pictures and stuff from here and there and everywhere about what's going on. And they're in class right now. They'll begin their run at 9 a.m., but they're going to get their classroom work in, as this is all part of the bigger picture of officiating. So those are our guests. Those are what we have going on. There's a big, nice picture of Mike Austin. We'll retweet that so you can see who we're talking to, as he is in class right now. Good thing we got him at 9:15. Don't want to interrupt him out of class. But that's our show. That's what we have going on. We have all kinds of people, coaching changes, all-star games to talk about. I think we're also going to delve in to the second hour, this last part of the second hour. We're obviously going to talk about the NBA Finals. Two teams with big threes going in opposite directions, maybe, looking at next year. You look at the NHL Final, which is the best 2 out of 3, and then I think we're going to touch a lot on, as we go to the break, Mike, this Aaron Hernandez deal with New England. It's a case of so much talent, too much money, and maybe some friends that he doesn't need to be hanging around with when you get to that point. We're going to talk a little bit about that, because that is a prime example to show young athletes maybe what to do and what not to do in that situation.
That's sort of a bad combination of things. And I think at any level, people's been there before us, not on the financial end of things, but we've all had buddies that, have done a few things that maybe we're not as proud of as, could be. And then sometimes you have to cut ties. But in the NFL or major sports, this is just getting to be too common of an occurrence. And it's just sad that it's going to end up in a bad way. And another big blog on it this morning about the family of the victim and things of that nature. And arrest warrants are being written up, I think, as we speak now. So it's not going to be a good result. And it really takes away from, football just right around the corner with training camps headed our way shortly. So it's just tough for a young man, and, obviously tough for a young man who lost his life and a family.
Yep, and that's the bigger issue, obviously, not the football issue. But we'll talk more about that. We're going to talk more maybe from the side of not only professionals in sports, but maybe how to deal with things on and off the field for young people who may be listening, going to wherever today. With that, we need to take our first break. We'll come back, and we'll have DuQuoin High School baseball coach Tim Kraft. He will be one of the coaches today participating in the All-Star Game, the senior side at Heron. We'll have him on here after the break. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Fuel economy could not be more affordable. Hi, Roy Schmidt, Ford dealer at Ford Square in Mount Vernon. The 2013 Ford Fiesta and Ford Focus are a dynamic duo of high miles per gallon. Right now, you will find a Ford Fiesta 4-door with an automatic transmission ready to get you 39 miles per gallon highway and for less than $15,000 plus tax, title, and license. Your pocketbook wins twice, saving out the door and at the pump. Wow. Or how about 38 miles per gallon in a 4-door 2013 Ford Focus? Drive away in the Ford Focus for $16,435 when you finance through Ford Motor Credit. Saving at the pump doesn't have to come at a premium. Browse our inventory at fordsquare.com or come see one of our associates at Ford Square Mount Vernon, 1501 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank, asking why you bank with Community First Bank. Is it knowing your deposits are also vital to home loans in Jefferson County and our local economy? Is it having your choice of convenient locations and ATMs? Is it seeing a staff of friendly faces you recognize as your neighbors? These are all reasons enough to count, though you only need one, and we are honored you chose us. Community First Bank, welcome back to personal banking. Member FDIC.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
That's Mike Richardson. I'm Denny Zerwinski. Jeff Curl pushing the buttons here in the studio in Mount Vernon. And the high school sports season for 2012-2013 over. But one last All-Star game or two will happen this afternoon and this morning in Heron, Illinois. It'll be the Southern Illinois Baseball Coaches Association All-Star Games for the seniors at 10 a.m., the juniors at 1 p.m. And joining us now is one of those coaches in that senior game, the head coach of the DuQuoin Baseball Indians, Tim Kraft. Coach Kraft, how are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being on once again. The off season for you, and I know there's contact days going on, baseball and everything, but an All-Star game today at 10 a.m. for the seniors. Who all is participating in what players make up those two teams today in Heron, Illinois?
Well, I haven't seen an official roster, so I'm not sure on most of the teams. I've got 3 seniors that are playing in Austin Mansker, Travis Chapman, and Nate Boss. And then in the junior game, I have 2 juniors and a sophomore, and Camden Mercier and Camden Youngman and A.J. Smith playing. I'm not familiar. I haven't seen all the others. I know most of the ones in the conference that are playing, but I'm not sure of the rest of them off the top of my head.
A special opportunity. I know this game's been at Abe Martin Field at SIU for many years. Obviously, they're going under construction down there to renovate that place. But an opportunity one last time for high school kids. A lot of the kids that are playing today won't have the opportunity to go to the next level. So this is kind of like their one last fling with the high school game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely. It's the last day, that they get to wear their high school uniform and represent their town again. And I know some of them are playing Legion ball, but it's not quite the same. The fact that they are representing the town is good, but they still get to put their high school uniform on one more time and play with some of their teammates and a lot of guys that they played against for 4 years or 6 or 7 years, depending on if they played junior high ball or not.
As a coach, when you get down here and you have your guys playing, obviously, and playing in this game, how do you get all these guys in the position and play and get in that bat? How hard is that for a coach to try to get everybody in?
Well, we've kind of gotten down to it that we just kind of hit straight through the roster, and that helps get everybody, the same amount of bats for the most part. As far as switching, it's kind of free substitution, so it's not like a typical baseball game where you're out and you're done. You just kind of rotate people in. The hardest part probably is figuring out pitching, being able to pick 9 different guys and go out and play a 9-inning game. Sometimes you got 12 guys to pitch, sometimes you got 7, so it kind of makes it hard sometimes.
Looking at the game, obviously at Heron at 10 a.m. today, the seniors will be playing in their final game. The thing I like about what the SIBCA does is the fact that not only the seniors are playing today, but you also are having a junior game as well right around 1 p.m. I think that's pretty cool to kind of showcase the talent that's maybe coming back next year in Southern Illinois for baseball.
Yeah, definitely. Just some of those kids that I know the other coaches know about them, but maybe some of the fans around the area that maybe come to watch the game don't know a whole lot of some of those younger guys. They've seen the older guys play a lot, but and it also rewards those guys for having good years.
And that starts at 1, the juniors game right around 1 p.m. And you as a coach, been around this for a while. The baseball in Southern Illinois has always been very good for many, many years. You and I know that. But recently it seems this year resurgent with Shawnee getting to state, T-Town getting to state, Mount Vernon getting to state. It seems to be that maybe baseball in Southern Illinois is starting to kind of swing back into gear as far as deep runs in the postseason like your Indians did this year.
Yeah, the talent level's been pretty high the last few years, and I know there's a lot of places that kids go and work out year-round and hit year-round, and I think it's definitely starting to show some of the time that these kids are putting in, every year to improve their skills.
This summer, what do Tim? We talked to different baseball coaches. Obviously, spring just got over about a month ago with the season. Are you a guy that likes to get your program out and about with your contact days, or you just kind of let your team go about and play with their travel and Legion teams this summer?
In the past, we've done the SIBCA Coaches Association League and probably played 10 to 12 games with my guys. This year we're trying something a little bit different because I got a lot of kids that are playing Legion in Pinckneyville. Basically, we did that to kind of get the kids that weren't playing summer ball some experience. But looking at our roster this year, I'd say almost all our kids are playing over at Pinckneyville in either the Junior Legion teams or the Senior Legion teams. So kind of taking a hands-off approach this year and just kind of let them play. But I've had kids that want to go and hit, so we'll go and open up the cage and go out and hit them ground balls and stuff. And, we'll just try to keep them involved more than anything.
Well, we're going to keep you involved because you have a busy schedule today getting down there and getting things going. Our question, of course, you know how it is. It's hard, you never know what we're going to ask. Our WMIX Sports social media question of the week, and you got all these movies coming out: Superman, Wolverine, got all these superheroes are bound about in movies here lately. So, what superhero would you want to be?
Oh man, that's tough. I don't know if you can go wrong with Superman. He's kind of got all the powers. I know there's a lot of pressure on him, but he can pretty much do anything he wants. Even though I haven't seen the new movies, so I don't know what new rules they put on him. But I think I'd have to go with Superman.
Superman, that's a good choice. That's probably one that'd be interesting to see what everybody picks, but I'm sure Superman would be a popular choice. Tim, thanks for joining us. Good luck today in your All-Star games, and man, pick a different day to pour concrete so my golfing buddies can be a little bit more rested. Okay.
Okay, we'll try.
All right, thank you. That's Tim Kraft, head coach of the DuQuoin Baseball Indians. All-Star games today, the senior game at 10 a.m. at Heron, that beautiful complex, and then the junior game will follow right around 1 p.m. We need to take a break and come back. Another new coach has been hired in our coverage area. Of course, our coverage area is really big. We'll see. Well, actually, we'll see. No, you can't see. It's on radio. We'll talk to the new head coach of the Mount Vernon High School soccer program, Jim Duncan, after the break. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
You need a great quality new-to-you vehicle. There's a reason why Second Chance Auto has been helping put families into affordable, dependable vehicles for over 32 years. Honest, fair deals. Ain't nothing fancy, just great vehicles with warranties, honest deals, and bank rate financing for all. That's the only way Second Chance Auto will do business. And you don't even have to leave your home to get credit approval. Call Second Chance Auto at 244-4582 and get pre-approved right over the phone. They know bad things can happen to good people. Second Chance Auto, Route 142 East in Mount Vernon.
Your spine is a miracle of engineering, so when pain strikes, your body is telling you to get help fast. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois is proud to feature their spine care team. And when there are back problems, pain is always a constant companion. The Orthopedic Center also specializes in pain management, so put our spine care team on the job. Find out more online at orthocenter-si.com. Stop the pain, fix the problem, and enjoy life again. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. Partly sunny, hot, and humid today with a shower or a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, mainly north of Mount Vernon, high of 91. Mainly clear and muggy tonight with a low 65 to 70. Then tomorrow, hot and humid with partly sunny skies, high 92. Partly sunny Monday, still hot and humid, high 91. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
We need to change our talk from the baseball field to the soccer pitch. And joining us right now, and a first-time guest, I believe, this Saturday Sports Show, maybe not, at least for me anyway, is the newly hired head coach of the Mount Vernon soccer program, Jim Duncan. Coach, how are you this morning?
Doing great. How are y'all?
We're doing fine. And again, you've been around the soccer program, been around soccer all your life. Of course, your son Joel played soccer here at Mount Vernon, moving on to the college level. Talk about your experience around soccer for our listeners who may or may not know about your background with the game of soccer in Southern Illinois.
Yeah, we moved to Mount Vernon in 1991, and at that time we enrolled our oldest son, Caleb, in the Y program. He was about 4 or 5 years old. He loved it, so I never played soccer, never coached soccer, but since he enjoyed it, I sort of got into the Y program, started coaching, and took him through the Y program, took Micah, my other son, to the program, and then, of course, coached Joe all the way through the Y program as well. So that's had several years in the Y program, and then I was at Friend Lake for 3 years and started the program there, and coached from 2008 to 2011. Along the way, coached some club teams as well, and then 2 years ago became the assistant at Mount Vernon, and just recently got the head coach position.
And yeah, Mount Vernon Soccer, founded in 2001, of course, by Steve Harrison, and of course Jeff followed up with it after he took over, and then now you come through. And in soccer terms, a program that's 12 years old is relatively young. Still a lot of growing to do for this program in your eyes, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're still considered one of the new kids on the block in Southern Illinois as far as soccer is concerned. I mean, Marion and Carbondale, they've been around forever. I think maybe Althoff has had a program for several years also, but we're not in our infancy, but we're still a young child in the soccer program. Got some growing to do, and hopefully we can do that in the next few years.
You have some experience at the junior college level. You said your time at Rend Lake will benefit you in a recent article in the Mount Vernon Register News. When you look at your experience at the college level with soccer, how, as a coach that may be listening or a younger coach, how does that help you with that experience at the college level to come back to the high school level?
Well, there's a big gap between high school play and college play, even at the junior college level. I mean, at Rend Lake, we were in Division I. There were 127 teams in Division I in JCAA. We had 11 teams in our region, which is Region 24. And in that region alone, we had 4 of our 11 teams were ranked in the top 10 in the nation every year. So the level of play between the high school and the college is just it's a tremendous jump. So for me to go from college back down to high school, in order for me to, first of all, help the boys and girls have an enjoyable high school program, I want to develop them as players, skill. But in order to help some of them make that jump from high school to college, I think I know, I've seen firsthand what these boys and girls have to have in order to get a look from a college coach. So that's gonna help me prepare them and try to develop them and train them into players that'll have an enjoyable high school experience, but also have a possibility maybe to play college one day.
You mentioned also that you're all in the summer. You're getting in your conditioning program right now with things going on in the summer. With basketball, you have games going on all time, summer tournaments. Football, They play 7-on-7. Volleyball has tournaments at Salem and wherever. What do soccer teams do? Do you guys get together with other schools, or basically it's just 25 contact days with your own team and players by yourself?
Well, right now, since soccer is still in its infancy, early childhood in the Southern Illinois program, there aren't a whole lot of opportunities to play in off season. That's changing. I got an email just this past week from the Carbondale coach. He's trying to put together an 8v8 tournament sometime this summer. There's some league play that we can get involved with Belleville. That's never developed. Hopefully that'll develop in the next few years also. That will be during the summer. But what we're focusing on right now is maximizing those 25 contact days we have in the summer. We haven't done that in the past with the boys or the girls, but we're doing it now, and we're focusing on skill development. We want our boys and girls to have a good first touch, be able to pass and dribble with both feet, shoot with both feet, be able to understand the tactical part of the game, the flow of the game on the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball, but also just really focus on developing technically skilled players. That'll make us better.
Boys teams will begin play in August, obviously, with the fall season. Girls are in the spring. A topic question for me and for other people who are listening, probably soccer novices. If you're like me and you watch the game, what's the easiest way for someone who watches it and doesn't know a lot that's going on soccer-wise to learn and learn from soccer and learn to become a fan of it?
One of the easiest ways to watch a game and learn.
Yeah, because I'm a novice. I'm trying to get into this.
Yeah.
How for me, what's the easiest way for me to learn the quickest?
Yeah, as far as learn the flow of the game?
Strategy has flow, strategy. I know there's all kinds of parties in the stands with these games going on for the World Cup qualifier, but on the field, how would somebody like myself or listening out there that's a novice go, okay, hey, I understand this. What's the strategy? What's the easiest way to pick up on things that way?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as the rules are concerned, the most troubling rule is the offside rule. It's just sort of like the hockey, whatever it's called. So that's the thing that puzzles people most, but get past that and just watch the development of the game. For example, our style of the game is to we try to build an attack when we have the ball on our defensive third. We want to move the ball to the outside, then to the inside of the middle third, and then we want to look for some lanes to pass to or some space to pass to get into the attacking third of the game. So ideally, we want to start from the back and make short connecting passes from the outside to the inside and get to the other goal. Some teams prefer to do it a different way. They just start in the back and kick it as hard as they can and hope their offensive people can run up on the ball. But we prefer to play the attacking game with short connecting passes and making runs and passing through lanes and trying to get behind the defense. So if you're watching a game, if you're watching one of our games, and you're watching all these connecting passes take place, and you're listening to my guys talk and communicate on the field, it really becomes what some people call it, the beautiful game. I mean, it's just amazing to see a group of guys and a group of girls be able to connect with each other for our fields are 110 yards long and 75 yards wide for 80 minutes. It's one of the most demanding games that you'll find in the area also. But just come out and watch us build our attack. Watch us move down the field, up and down the field. I think you will appreciate it.
And appreciate it. We will. Come August, of course, we'll have you back on again. We'll talk about the team and the season. But one last question for you, and you'll get used to it as you come on the Saturday Sports Show, is our social media question of the week. I'm sure you probably heard about it. This week's question is, what superhero would you want to be?
Spider-Man.
Oh, interesting choice.
Yeah.
You
always been a fan.
Oh, really? Is that like a long time from being a kid, or is that something you want to scale walls or something?
When I was about 9 years old, my cousin gave me the original Spider-Man series from 1 up to about 127, 128. So I had that collection, read it constantly, but like a lot of baseball cards, they found their way in the trash, and I'd be sitting pretty nice now if I had all those comics. But that was the one I focused on as a kid, Spider-Man.
Very nice. Good choice. Coach, thanks for joining us. We're going to have you on again in the fall, talk about the team and the schedule and the season, and thanks for taking time out in the summer to join us here on the Saturday Sports Show.
Thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
You too. Same to you. Jim Duncan, that's new head coach of the Mount Vernon High School soccer program. Of course, the boys will begin their season in August, September. Girls will pick up in the spring, March, April. Of course, Rams and Lady Rams soccer starting to build in a program that's only about 12 years old. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll have our second of 3 newly hired coaches in the area and actually in Jefferson County. Who is that? You'll have to stay tuned. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
This is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. It's been said that in order to grow, you have to change. Very rarely anymore do insurance companies ask the phrase, to go out and get 3 estimates. The new phrase insurance companies are asking is, would you like to take your vehicle to one of our direct repair facilities? This is a way for your insurance company and collision repair center to help relieve the stress you may have from your unfortunate incident. And, as Landers Collision Centers has adapted to this forever-changing industry, we are extremely happy to announce that we are a direct repair facility for over 10 different insurance companies. It's likely that one of them is yours. From dealing with your insurance company, setting you up with a rental vehicle, lifetime warranty on repairs, and of course, Landers Free lifetime detailing for qualified customers, Landers Collision Centers literally takes the stress from your incident and turns it back into a shiny new ride for you to enjoy again. Landers is here for you whenever you need us. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
State Farm, this is Jessica.
Hey, Jessica, Jerry Newman. Does State Farm offer more discounts to more drivers?
Yep, like the good driver discount.
So it's for good, but not great drivers.
No, Jerry. There's also the multi-line discount.
For calling from multiple lines while driving.
You should never use a phone while driving.
I only make calls from my car when I'm stuck in a ditch or something.
Are you in a ditch?
Yes, I am.
State Farm offers more discounts to more drivers than any other insurance company. Get to a better state.
One more reason to call State Farm agent Tony Wilton Mount Vernon at 242-1421.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
That's what healthcare should be.
That's Mike Richardson. I'm Denny Zerwinski. Jeff Crow in the house. Needs to stop that immediately. That's scaring me the way you're bobbing and weaving there. Okay. Moving on, the second of three newly hired coaches in Southern Illinois, we'll get to Dance Fever later on there, Travolta, is an old friend of the Saturday Sports Show, but in a new place, and that is Matt Patterson, newly hired head coach of the Woodlawn High School girls basketball program. Matt, how are you this morning?
Good morning, guys.
Hey, I got to ask, this kind of came out of the blue this week. You're going to be the new head coach of the girls basketball program at the high school, joining softball. You're going to be kind of busy when it rolls around from October to March or to May, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to get to see a lot of the female athletes here at Woodlawn High School, all in some short months.
You obviously have had a lot of success. I mean, everybody in the county and the area knows from junior high, back-to-back state champs in boys basketball now at the junior high level, a couple titles in softball. You've been to state in baseball. I know I'm leaving things out. I'm sure your sports agent will take care of that later on me. But how does that success translate and move over from the grade school to the high school level, which you're getting ready to take on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not, necessarily sure that it does, other than I do feel confident, in what I can bring to the kids at the high school level, and hopefully I can sell them like we sold the kids at the junior high level.
And following up with that, do you think it was going to be, and I know the answer, but you got to ask for radio, the transition now, do you think that with basketball and you being with the softball program at the high school for several years now, maybe just getting more around your female athletes that are dual sport athletes, do you think that transition is going to be pretty smooth?
I think it will be. I've been around a lot of those kids for a long time with the different sports, and one of the things, and hopefully this helps, is that it helps get some numbers back up, which we know has been kind of an issue for the girls' basketball program.
And even as far as the numbers go at the girls' basketball level, maybe getting them involved, plus you can control sort of some of the keeping them in shape, I guess, also for softball. That's just got to be an added plus.
Oh, absolutely. Conditioning-wise in basketball is completely different from softball, and just having them a little more physically and athletically ready for softball is a complete plus.
You're going to be around the girls now coaching from like the end of October through May, and you're going to be very familiar. There's in the last few years, obviously at the grade school, you're still familiar with the high school program. Numbers have been an issue. What are you already doing to try to get those numbers raised and back into place that we were used to seeing in recent years at Woodlawn High School, the girls program?
We have reached out, made a couple phone calls, and tried to get the word out a little bit and see what kind of interest we're going to have. And so far, just in a couple days that we've had here, that we've got some pretty good outlooks on some numbers. We're looking at, anywhere from 10 to 15 right now, depending on if I can sway a couple to come out in October. And I think they're leaning about 50-50, but I'm hoping we can pull them. And, having that JV program's huge, keeping some of your young athletes away from some of our varsity schedule and exposing them a little too early. But hopefully we get the numbers up, get a JV program going again, and we can build from there.
Being in a smaller high school, I was in a smaller high school, you too as well, multiple sport athlete you were. How important is it, do you think, for you to work, you're obviously softball and basketball, 2/3, now volleyball involved with, how important is that to work together to try to get these high school kids and athletes at Woodlawn at the girls' side to say, hey, it's okay, I can play 2 or 3 sports, that keeps me busy, keeps me active, and keeps me ready for all the sports that are coming each year?
I think it's huge. We have worked with Sarah at the grade school level too, the volleyball coach, and she's big on pushing, kids trying to play multiple sports. It just makes you more of an all-around athlete and helps you in each sport that you play.
Scheduling-wise, of course, Woodlawn's in the Midland Trail Conference, and you look at that, but scheduling-wise, are you going to look at keeping the schedule as it is, or do you have any leeway in working on the schedule for the upcoming season?
I would say this late in the year, we're probably going to be pretty set with what it was last year, but there's really nothing wrong with the schedule. We play a pretty tough schedule with a lot of 2As in there, that help you get better. But we can tweak it as we see fit. But right now, I think it's okay.
It's okay. You're going to be on that bench, and you're going to be high school girls, and everybody always says, "How can you coach?" High school girls or junior high boys and all this and everything else. Is your softball experience going to help you greatly in that transition to coach the high school girls basketball program?
I think it'll help some. I mean, just knowing those kids and knowing how they react to certain situations will benefit me a lot. But when it comes down to it, basketball's basketball, and you do things the right way and you give some effort, and good things usually happen.
Well, good things usually happen, and we'll know that they will happen as we'll, of course, cover lots of Woodlawn High School girls basketball, Jefferson County basketball showcase to come this winter. But our final question for you before we let you go, we know you're busy here in the summer, is our social media question of the week, as you know. And this week's question is, what superhero would you want to be?
I saw you guys were going to ask that, and I thought a little bit. I'm thinking I'm going to go with Batman.
Okay, that's a new one. Why Batman?
I do some work on midnights and kind of a nighttime kind of guy. Plus, he has the awesome tool belt.
That tool belt, see, that could be kind of cool to use around different places, the old tool belt, couldn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, have you found a Robin yet for the coaching staff, or are you still just Batman by yourself at this point?
Yeah, we're a little early in that process, but we do have some feelers out for that.
Okay. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us. We wish you the best of luck this winter, and I know we're going to have you on the show come up with the basketball season and, of course, cover a lot of your games here on WMIX.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. That's Matt Patterson, head coach of the Woodlawn High School girls basketball team. Mike, that's a quality move. A guy that had a lot of success, as you know. You were side by side with back-to-back Class S state championships in boys basketball. Guy with a lot of coaching experience, a lot of success bumping across the tracks here in Woodlawn to take over a high school girls program that's had a lot of success in recent years. Maybe the numbers haven't been where they wanted them.
I think it's serving a dual purpose. I think naturally on the coaching standpoint for sure. Ready to move up. And I've always thought that would be an easy transition if it would ever happen, that he could get over there and take the girls basketball program over, just because his familiarity with the girls from the grade school level, that transformed very well from softball grade school to high school. So being around girls now year-round basically in school, I think it's just a very good move, not only, as I mentioned, sports-wise, but just having control of your program. And we talked about volleyball, and everybody gets along very well. The volleyball has just been a big success at the high school level. It's been fantastic. They do a good job. It's fun to watch. The community's really responded well to it. And I think now having control, and like we mentioned earlier in the interview, he can have things now going as far as conditioning for the girls. And it's not a bad thing for him to tell somebody, hey, I know you want to play softball, but we need an extra player here to practice with, and conditioning would be great for you for softball. So go ahead and come out for basketball, and we'll make sure you get to play a little bit, but the main thing is you'll be in good shape to play softball.
And playing multiple sports has never hurt anybody at the high school level.
No, I'm tired of all these people talking about specialization at such a young age. If you're an athlete, you're an athlete. You can be taught many different things in sports, and it does not hurt. I mean, we had different rules several years ago about our track program at the grade school. If you wanted to play basketball, you ran track. Track, you run, throw, jump. You do everything an athlete does. That transforms into other sports. So be multiple sports and take advantage of it while you can.
If we have time, which I'm sure we will, we'll come back to that. Let's come back to that topic later in the second hour when we talk about multiple sport athletes and the individualization that kids are kind of forced into at an early age to play one sport for one reason or another. We need to take a break, and we have the surprise coming up. A surprise hiring in Jefferson County. A little different change on the horizon. We'll take a break and come back. We'll tell you who and what that position entails here on the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
More Americans are on the move today than ever before. One of the most popular modes of transportation is the motorcycle. Motorcycles take us to our jobs, school, to the beach, and all around the country. If you're a bike rider, your Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, wants to make sure you have the best insurance protection while you're riding. Ask about the money-saving auto cycle discount and the experienced driver discount, too. Call Page Insurance at 242-7000 today about motorcycle insurance from Pekin Insurance.
What does technology sound like? Is it the clang of heavy machinery, the beeps and chirps of an electronic gadget? At the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center, technology sounds a little something like this.
It's the sound of a young girl excited because her mom's being released the same day as her minimally invasive surgery. Thanks to the Da Vinci surgical robot, our surgeons' hand motions are seamlessly translated into smaller, more precise movements. But surgery isn't the only way Good Samaritan is raising the bar for advanced healthcare in Southern Illinois.
That's the sound of a patient's health record being updated and stored electronically for immediate access by nurses, primary care doctors, and specialists alike. That's why soon, the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center will use all electronic patient health records. Less paper translates to faster, better care for you. And that sounds a little something like this.
The new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center, raising a hospital, raising the bar.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXSports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
Hey, there you go. Grooving away. Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
One of the surprise hirings this week in Jefferson County. Of course, we just had 2 coaches hired in 2 different spots, new gigs. This is another familiar guest to the Saturday Sports Show, but moving into a new gig is Chad Harper. And Coach, I don't know how to introduce this to you, to our listeners, other than to say we welcome in the new assistant boys basketball coach of Woodlawn Grade School. Is that right to say at this point?
That's correct.
I'm sitting Monday night, and Mike's over here laughing at me because he thinks it's real funny. I compared this to like when Albert Pujols was a free agent, and he had all these teams and suitors that were in the mix, and all of a sudden out of nowhere came the invisible Anaheim, the Angels, and they took Albert out to L.A. I was kind of shocked by this. How did this all come about, you moving from Weber Township, the high school boys coach, to now helping Mike Richardson at Woodlawn Grade School?
Well, the situation at Weber was I enjoyed every minute I was over there. The kids were great. The parents were very supportive. The administration, they were very, very good to work with. But, you know, it was just a long travel each and every day. And, you know, basketball season, it's a long season. And so I decided to go ahead and take a break from coaching. And when Coach Richardson found out I was going to take a break, he gave me a phone call and asked me if I'd be interested to help. And I was like, you know what, I would like a new experience at the junior high level and give that a shot. And so I talked to the wife and decided to go ahead and do it.
You go ahead and do it. And of course, I thought, and this is my opinion, I'm speaking for myself, and I thought you did a really good job at Weber last year, being, you know, maybe not in the wins and losses, but maybe the competitive standpoint. Your team got so much better, and the program got so much better as the year went on. You bring a load full of high school coaching experience to the junior high level. Is there going to be, how much will that help you moving down to the junior high level, being at the high school level for as long as you have?
I just think, as you know, being a high school coach for 15 years, just the experience and just teaching the game, I feel like I can break the game down, to smaller parts so that the younger kids can understand it.
And that's what we're wanting. That's what we're hoping for. And while we got him on the air, we got together yesterday. We're playing locally here in town this weekend, and Chad got to meet some of the players a little bit in a couple of games yesterday morning in a real cool gym. It wasn't hot.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'm a very lucky individual. I make no bones about it. I wanted him to say no to me, and I don't think I put pressure on him. I told him, I said, I need you to tell me no if you don't want to do it, but I would love to have you coaching with me there at Woodlawn Grade School. And as he said, he talked it over with the powers to be, and we come up with an agreement, and I couldn't be more happy with how things has turned out.
I'll ask both of you this. You guys have known each other for a long time. I still, first off, can't believe Chad Harper's coached 15 years in high school. You can't be that old, number one. But you and Chad have known each other for a long time. Had you guys thought about this, talked in the past to join each other, or is it, I'll ask Chad first question, or is this kind of just popped up out of the blue because of circumstances falling a certain way?
I think the circumstances, like you said, I know a coach for a long time. think just the way the circumstances turned out, it just kind of fell into place. I don't think we really talked about it, but I know when he called me and asked me if I would help him, I got real excited. And like I said, talked to the wife and told her this is something I'm looking forward to. It's a new experience, and Coach is a great coach. I'm going to learn from him, and hopefully I can bring a little bit to the table to even help out even a successful program become more successful.
Well, you envision certain things over time, and it's like everybody knows. I'm not going to continually do this forever. I mean, there will be a stop date somewhere down the road. I mean,
that's a shock.
I know there will be, but you have when the situation took place, and Matt was going to go to the high school level, and the Woodlawn Grade School Board entrusted me with the program. You start immediately thinking, and I had 2 or 3 good close friends of mine's call and let me know that they were interested for sure, and I took all under consideration. I had one other person in mind, and then I just heard through the grapevine a few things about Chad's situation, and reiterating what I said earlier, I just wanted to take a shot because, and don't take this as a bragging statement or anything, but I had to find somebody to replace me that is willing to really sacrifice and put a lot of time and effort into our young kids, because that's where programs are built, with young kids programs. And I had to find somebody as close to me as I could find, and I think I hit in a baseball terminology, hit a home run. I mean, I couldn't be. I was giddy when I saw him in the gym yesterday. I mean, just like a kid, seeing another kid or whatever. And I think it's going to be great. I really do.
I think it'll be great too, because of one aspect. If there's any way to influence a basketball program with more knowledgeable Kentucky basketball minds, I am all for a Kentucky guy coming in to help promote a winning program, because there's nothing better than that.
Well, we will wear blue for sure.
Right.
But as soon as I hear this dribble drive, that's when we'll have a little powwow in the corner maybe. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
I know some of your players. I'll just pull them off in my classroom there, and I'll say, hey, guys, you've seen this dribble drive offense. Why don't you talk Coach Richardson about this? Because I know Coach Harper joins us. Coach, at Weber Township, have they you're now at Woodlawn, are they moving in the direction to hire yet, or have they done that in this case at this point?
If I'm not mistaken, I think they had a board meeting. Now, I'm not 100% for sure, but I think Coach Beatty's is going to take over the program. I know he's running all the summer stuff, and he's been to a couple shootouts and then been having open gyms. So right now, Coach Beatty's in charge, and what I understand that as soon as it comes through at the board meeting, he's just going to be the head coach.
Well, when we get to that point, we'll have him on the Saturday Sports Show. But before we let you go and get off to your summer fun, we got to ask you our sports social media question of the week, and this week's question is, what superhero would you want to be?
Register for fall courses right now.
Aquaman.
Aquaman. And what would you be Aquaman? Why would you pick that?
I don't know. Maybe just control the ocean.
There you go. It's a good visit. Hey, thanks for joining us. I'll see you bouncing around the grade school, I'm sure, at games and practices and whatnot. And congratulations on your new gig. And remember, you got to keep this guy in line over here to my left, because he's sometimes hard to handle over there, Well,
I'm going to see him here in a couple hours, so I'll keep him in line then. How about that?
All right, thank you, sir. It's Coach Chad Harper. Thanks for joining us, the new assistant boys basketball coach at Woodlawn Grade School. We got to take a break. We're at the top of the hour. When we come back, we'll give our answers to our social media question of the week. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Courses right now at Red Lake College. Over 100 degree and certificate programs means Red Lake College can put you on the fast track to a new career or continued education. RLC is more affordable than four-year universities and private schools, saving you thousands on your college education. Registration by appointment continues through July 26 with trained academic counselors who will keep you on the right track. Call Red Lake College at 437-5321, 437-5321, or log on to rlc.edu.
The Saturday Sports Show lives here. AM 940 WMIX Mount Vernon. A free service from Withers Broadcasting.
The Medicine Shop in Mount Vernon would like to announce the grand opening of a custom compounding lab located right next door. What is compounding, you ask? Well, quite simply, it's working with your doctor to solve problems. Have you ever had an infant who couldn't keep antibiotics down? Compounding is formulating that drug into a suppository. Problem solved. Have you ever been nauseous and unable to take tablets? We can compound that anti-nausea drug into a cream you simply apply to the skin. Problem solved. Worried about side effects or risks associated with oral pain medication or hormone therapy? We can compound pain medications or hormone meds into a topical cream that will avoid most, if not all, of the risks and side effects. Problem solved. These are just a small sampling of our ability to better serve our patients. It's another way we at the Medicine Shop stand out from the competition. Give the staff at the Medicine Shop a call today.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. Partly sunny, hot, and humid today with a shower or thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, mainly north of Mount Vernon, high of 91. Mainly clear and muggy tonight with a low 65 to 70. Then tomorrow, hot and humid with partly sunny skies, high 92. Partly sunny Monday, still hot and humid, high 91. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Go Saturday Sports Show here on WMIX as we head in hour number 2, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Hey, that's what healthcare should be.
Denny Swerwinski, that's Mike Richardson. You just heard Jeff Crow pushing the buttons. Chris Hugo away on assignment today, and we're on social media all the time, no matter day or night. You can follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. You can also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. This week's question, our social media question of the week is, what superhero would you want to be? That's a different question. You got Superman movie out. You got the Wolverine movie out. You got others coming. The Rock's got his thing going on TV about finding the newest hero or whatever. So kind of spawned a theme in, my head. Hey, what superhero would you want to be? Mike Richardson.
Great question. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I've actually had to change over time. Because I've always thought about that, man.
Mm-hmm.
At my age, growing up on Channel 5, Corky's Colorama on Saturday mornings, they had the major ones on all time.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. I was always a Captain America guy as a kid.
Okay.
But then when the movie came out, they really showed how they did him with steroids and stuff like that. So I had to, I sort of backed off. Batman.
Right.
You got the Batmobile.
Right.
You got the Batcave. You had the Batcopter. The Bat sub,
everything, yeah.
And then the number one reason, Batgirl.
Batgirl.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Batgirl.
Batgirl showed up and changed things.
Batgirl shows up, changes things. Adam West, he just had that look about him.
Mm-hmm.
Batman.
Batman. Okay. Now I'm stuck between 3 because the obvious would be anybody that can fly. So Superman because Metropolis, Illinois, it's cool, blah, 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 you can fly. Man of Steel, I don't think so. Okay, so flying, anybody can fly, all superheroes fly, whatever. Most of them. Then the other one was Aquaman, just to swim, because everybody's been through the air. You can look on Google Maps and see everything in the air. Okay? So you could fly places, you can see maps, whatever. But Aquaman would be a guy that could go down into the ocean because there's so many things under the ocean we don't even know about. And Aquaman would allow you to do that and swim places. You could do that. Another cat, I don't know if this is a superhero or not, but he has a little gadget that's just quite interesting, is Harry Potter. And Mike's laughing. He's trying, where did this come from? I'm not going to play any Kidditch anytime soon, or Quidditch, whatever they call it. But I look at him as having the invisibility cloak. How cool would it be to be able to throw that baby on and kind of just go around in different places and see what's going on and do different... Jeff Crow's laughing at me. Just think about it. Throw that invisibility cloak on and you could do just about anything you wanted.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when you look at it that way, yeah.
Batman's
Superman
got gadgets.
Can see through things.
Right.
But the being invisible and Wonder Woman, she could go invisible.
How did she? I didn't understand the concept of the invisible jet with Wonder Woman.
When you're just sitting there?
Yeah. She's flying through the air in the invisible jet. I really didn't understand that concept. I'm like, your jet's invisible, but you aren't. So what's the cool part of that? Do you have to fly? Do you have to call the FFA and say, hey, here it is? I didn't really understand her The Batman belt was key because he had all kinds of gadgets.
Absolutely. Linda Carter, Batwoman, or not Batwoman, excuse me, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That's enough said there.
Easy.
For sure.
Got to keep our license.
Crow, are you a superhero kind
Yeah, Crow, what's yours?
You a superhero kind of guy?
Of course. I mean, what guy isn't a superhero guy?
Well, so
my superhero would actually be the Flash. Hang on one second.
Flash Gordon.
Oh man, that was good. I just had to run real quick to get me a donut.
Yeah.
Back. Tell you what, watch the traffic over by Fairview Heights, so it's a little crowded. But yeah, the Flash would be where I'd like
Flash.
to be. Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I'm down to 3, but the invisibility cloak's got me stunned. I think that would be just kind of go around places, be different places nobody knows, just kind of be around. I don't know if that's superhero. I guess if I had to pick a superhero, it'd be, I don't know, Spider-Man, Superman.
Spider-Man's cool too.
Oh,
I mean, they all are. And there is a difference of like Marvel comic heroes, and then when you get into the League of Gentlemen and stuff like that with Wolverine and some of the group like that as well. So, there's so many good ones out there. It's but everybody's got to have at least one or two good superheroes.
I can tell you the reason why Danny wants an invisibility cloak. That's why he can be in the war room at the UK, and also the war room at Dallas to find out what's going to be going on, so he can possibly, maybe send some input, but get an idea of what's going to go on through his 2 favorite teams.
I mean, it's just kind of interesting, that invisibility cloak thing, when I had that in Harry Potter. I saw that's kind of a new gadget. I mean, that's a new gadget, but Batman had the belt. I was okay with Batman, but why did you need Robin? Nobody else. Then there was the Wonder Twins, where they'd go powers activate, turn into ice and water, or whatever they would do. That kind of thing. That was a superhero. You remember that? That was on cartoons. Okay. Oh, they used to meet in that little thing. I can remember the cartoon, and a buddy of mine be able to tell this to a T from Christopher. Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, they all met in this little office, and then they'd all go out and battle the forces of evil.
Well, Incredible Hulk, the problem with him is the fact that, man, your wardrobe, you'd have to be rich to have all them clothes. You gotta buy new clothes every time you change.
Right.
It was always amazing when he did change, though, that he had them same pair of Levi's on that just ripped up. Regardless.
Reese Barnfield joins us. You want to give your superhero thing while you're in here?
It's got to be Batman.
Batman?
Yeah, Batman's the best.
Okay.
And earlier you said something about the flights.
Yes.
Did you say, do you have to call the FFA or the
FAA?
FAA.
I did say FFA.
Yeah, the farmers don't care.
Well, FFA. I'd call the farmers, they would, because if you fly and land your invisible jet in a field, they would not like that.
They would run into it.
They would run into it, the FFA, yeah, FAA, FFA, yes.
That would be a problem for them, for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I could never figure out. Of course, FFA, yeah, there you go. FHA was also mad because they couldn't have food to plant because the invisibility jet landed there, but... Like the Incredible Hulk, you always have to get mad to be a hero. Why do you need to get mad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to make him angry, though.
Clark Kent turned into Superman. He wrote articles. He's in news business.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of anybody else. Thor was another one. He was kind of an interesting character. He-Man.
Iron Man.
I think I might have to change my answer to Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Just because he actually had a song.
And he's got really nice cars and stuff too.
Right.
Especially, the Robert Downey Jr. version anyway.
Right. And there's more. I just see, speaking of Iron Man, he signed up for another couple movies.
Yeah. I think he signed on for 2 more Avenger movies.
Yeah. There's another one, The Avenger. He's a different guy. And there's all kinds.
It's you can go on for years about it.
Wonder Woman was kind of in front because I remember her on the TV show. She had the metal bracelets and she'd deflect the bullets that were shot at her with the bracelets and everything.
She had the golden lariat to make you tell the truth too.
Right, the golden lariat was key. Mm-hmm. I could love to have that thing in school. Just tell the truth.
She could have wrapped that around me anytime she'd want.
Well, yes, to tell the truth, right? Yes,
Absolutely.
we all have to tell the truth. We want to hear and read your answers. Go to Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. You can tell us your answer there as your what superhero you would want to be. There's a whole plethora of answers. Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Harry Potter. All kinds of people have put out things because of superheroes. Because, everybody watches cartoons. Everybody's going to these movies. Everybody's got their own little favorite, own little niche. Obviously, go to Facebook.com. Yes, Crow?
What about the dude that turned himself into fire?
But what good would that do? Why would you want to be on fire and then you couldn't do anything?
That's the same group that's with Elastic Man as well. And
Elastic Man.
I don't know. That never was a little too corny for me, and I was all over it. But
Elastic Man wasn't.
The Flame.
Yeah, the flame. Just
Flame.
How convenient would that be? All of a sudden you turn into fire. Roast a couple of hot dogs and you'd be ready to go.
You always got to bring food into these things too. You got to remember that. That always helps. But Elastic Man, I never really got that one. Thor was a good guy too. From the history of him, and then the Hammer. He was always really, really good. And it is sad because I don't watch them literally like I did as a kid, obviously. But you just every once in a while will go on a channel, and there's not those type of cartoons anymore.
No.
The cartoon scene for kids now the landscape has really, really changed. You've got to go to, Cartoon Network, Nick at Night, and try. I'll tell you, one of my favorite cartoons of all time was Johnny Quest. Yeah. That was great. And I think that would be a great movie if you could cast that the right way.
Speed Racer.
I
was a Speed Racer guy. I could not go without watching Speed Racer, but...
And you guys, Crow might remember this. Do you remember Cactus Pete on Channel 3? And Clutch Cargo.
Oh, Clutch Cargo,
Spinner and Paddlefoot. That was good cartoons. That was something. It was adventurous at all times.
That might be another question coming up. Because the superheroes, favorite cartoon, we could do that.
Because it has changed. The kids, they just don't get to see a lot of the good stuff that was on years ago.
There is not, and there's some cartoons on today that when I flip through or see them somewhere, it makes me want to pull my absolute hair out. Because there are some cartoons that drive me bonkers. It's just like, really? Give me Bugs Bunny. Give me the old Tom and Jerry, the Woody Woodpecker. Give me those, and I will laugh hysterically no matter how many times I've seen them because Tom and Jerry are funny. I don't care what's going on. But anyway, that is our social media question of the week. What superhero would you want to be? You can go to Facebook.com/WMI. Oh, Uncle Briggs. There's another one. Uncle Briggs. I remember Uncle Briggs. Listener puts in for us. Ron Weinmiller, boys basketball coach at Benton, listening to us. Uncle Briggs, he was another good one.
I'm not too sure, just a little change of makeup, but I think Uncle Briggs was a descendant of Cactus Pete. I think they just sort of
somewhere
changed
along
a little
that
makeup in there.
Go to Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Post your answer. What superhero would you want to be? Speaking of superheroes, guys that are underappreciated, guys and gals that are underappreciated, we're going to talk to one of those here after the break. We're going to talk and ask them some questions here on the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank, asking why you bank with Community First Bank. Is it knowing your deposits are also vital to home loans in Jefferson County and our local economy? Is it having your choice of convenient locations and ATMs? Is it seeing a staff of friendly faces you recognize as your neighbors? These are all reasons enough to count, though you only need one, and we are honored you chose us. Community First Bank, welcome back to personal banking. Member FDIC.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
That's Mike Richardson. I'm Denny Zerwinski. Jeff Crow pushing buttons. Chris Hugo away today on assignment. And joining us now, of course, it's summertime. Teams are playing or practicing, getting better for the upcoming sports season during the fall, winter, and spring. But guys and gals also in the stripes have to get better and have to learn and then get certified. And one of those joining us today, helping run a clinic at Murfreesboro High School today, is longtime friend of the Saturday Sports Show, friend of mine, Mike Austin. Mike Austin, how are you this morning?
Well, it's about 80 degrees on a Saturday, and I'm in a gymnasium. How's that?
Well, I'm shocked that Lynn Navarro did not turn the air on down there today for you.
No, I said 80 degrees outside. We're comfortable inside.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I see what you're saying. You want to be outside.
Absolutely. How are you, Danny?
I'm good. Mr. Navarro tweeted a couple pictures. I'm sure you saw him when he snuck in. You have this clinic, and everybody thinks officiating is running up and down the floor, blowing a whistle, and this, that, and another. But we retweeted a picture of his, and it were the officials who were there today at Murfreesboro for the high school boys basketball games in class, being instructed, taking notes. Something that a lot of people may not understand is on these clinics, you got to do a little paper pencil work before you go out there and perform on the floor.
Hey, Danny, as long as they're playing in the summer, we have to play. Have to participate as well. If they're going to try to continue to get better, we have to get better as also. This is a good opportunity for all of us to get together and work on some of the skills that maybe we lack in and try to get better to where we can provide a basketball atmosphere for the kids that's best for all of them.
Get ready. Your picture is going to get sent to us. Somebody's sneaking around on you, so be careful. Lynn's everywhere today, I'm sure, down there. When you talk about you guys getting in that classroom and working with each other, this is one of my things I don't understand. You work with the same crew basically all season. You get in the postseason, everybody's assigned to different regionals, you're split up, you work with different guys. How important is that, like today in the summer, to work with different people, knowing in the postseason you may be with these guys because you may not see them all year, but in the postseason you'll work with them maybe a week or two?
Well, yeah, we try to be as consistent as we possibly can, and we try to all of us work the same type of basketball game. But what today really is all about is about trying to learn the new points of emphasis that the IHSA has put out, and the new rules that the IHSA has put out, and we actually try to emphasize those. Danny, the unfortunate thing is, as you said, we work with the same guys all the time, so we know their habits, we know their moves and everything that they do. But when we do get on the postseason assignments, we're often with someone else and someone new who we're not familiar with. So it's days like today's that we actually work with those people and try to understand them a little bit better. The points of emphasis for the 2013-2014 basketball season, if you can imagine it, one of them is the coach's box.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. We have granting some timeouts is a point of emphasis. The intentional foul is a point of emphasis, and the guidelines to enforce the illegal contact. So we've got our work cut out for us. It looks like the IHSA is actually trying to clean up the basketball game a little bit and try to make it enjoyable and try to take a little bit of the physical out of it and try to take a little bit of the attitude out of it as well.
Hey, Mike, it's Mike Richardson. Thanks for joining us again this morning.
Hey, thank you for having me.
And I know you just got through saying, you officiate with common friends and people. My question is, do you have, and how many, if so, new faces will you see from guys maybe being at the junior high level, maybe the freshman level, now wanting to get more involved at the varsity level? How many new guys would possibly be there? And is it harder than what a lot of fans realize for young guys to get into officiating in this day and age?
Both of those are very good questions. There's not a lot of young people out there right now willing to wear the stripes and run up and down the floor. There's a lot of reasons for that. But I think the main thing is probably the dedication that it takes and the work that you're going to have to put in to do it, and a lot of the time it comes from the abuse that some of them take, But my take on that has always been that if you don't want the abuse, then you just get better. So that's my whole philosophy: is if you're not comfortable with hearing somebody get on you, then just get better. And as far as the younger people and seeing them move around, we don't have very many, but the ones we have are very good. The opportunity for them to get into basketball and to get onto the varsity level today is a lot better than it was 15 years ago, strictly from the three-person mechanic, which means that you have 25 basketball games across Southern Illinois. That means you have to have 25 more varsity officials. And when you're pulling from a very small pool to begin with, that means the opportunity for the young official to move into a varsity basketball game is very likely to happen quicker than it should. One point I want to make is that it's very easy to get to the varsity level to call a basketball game, but it's very difficult to stay there.
Well, that's what I was curious, because I always have fans and other people we talk about. We go somewhere and it's like, well, I see those guys together, and I was down at another game and I saw those guys together, and I try to stress to the fans and other coaches and things too that there's just not a lot of young officials right now, and I obviously know the abuse factor of things, because I do youth programs here at the grade school at Woodlawn and been involved with that for many years, and I tell you, it's brutal sometimes. It is absolutely brutal. And I just know that a lot of those guys get discouraged at such a young age. And, boy, you see some, though, that can, just like water off a duck's back, let it roll off of them. And, you'll see them a few years later. But it's got to be frustrating for you guys not to be getting many new guys into your refereeing organization, clinics, and things like that.
The thing that I was always told whenever I was beginning is that you can never take this personal, because whether it's you or whether it's me or whether it's Danny out there wearing the striped shirt, there's always going to be heckling and there's always going to be criticism. So you have to take it from the standpoint that they're not yelling at Mike Austin as a person, or they're not yelling at Danny Zawinski as a person. What they're doing is they're yelling at the striped shirt. So as long as you keep that in context to know that that's part of it, and that's going to happen, you can't take it personal. It seems that always worked out very well for me, and it always helped me get through some of the situations where I started beating up myself over one thing or another. But it's all about that striped shirt, and that's where they voice their anger.
When you mention the points of emphasis coming up, and you mention the coach's box, and a lot of people don't understand, because there's ways to go about things. My personal thought is there are ways that coaches can help themselves and referees can help themselves so things don't erupt and boil over into situations we don't want to see. There's kind of that, okay, I understand it's an emotional game, or hey, you can run by and say, hey, you can coach, we keep in the box. Explain to our listeners how that process goes from, there's the verbal talk during the game to the coach, hey, I understand, let it out, hey, you need to stay in your box, now it's a bench warning, now it's a technical. Explain how that process goes for the fan out there that may or may not understand that there's steps of warnings, basically, before coaches get a technical.
Well, that's actually what we've addressed this morning, Danny, and that's probably one of our main faults, is that we are at a point where we as officials probably let too much go. And what I might do or what you might do, when it differs, all we're doing is we're setting up the next official to fail. If first of all, let me back up and say that the coach's box starts 14 foot from the baseline. So 14 foot from the baseline, you come up, you draw a square, and then you go 14 more foot, you draw another square, and that's where that coach has to stay. Okay?
Right.
What we've done is we've allowed the coach, and I say we as officials because we're guilty of this. We're the cause of this. We've allowed the coaches to step outside the box, and the excuse that we always use is, I'm not going to say anything to him whenever he's not getting on me and he's coaching his teams. Well, you know what? That's wrong. Because we've allowed that coach to get out of that box, and we've allowed that coach to break that rule and violate. And all we have done is allowed the next official who enforces that to look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be more consistent in our rules interpretation. We have to be more consistent in our enforcement of it. Now, coaches have got to the point where they know that who will let them do what and who will let them do what. But the thing I want to point out, and to anyone listening, and to any official that's out there listening, when you allow one coach to get out of his box and walk all over the floor, you just haven't lost the respect of that coach, and you haven't allowed that coach to walk all over you, but you've also allowed the coach on the other end the same affordability. You've allowed him to do the very same things, because under no circumstances can you allow one coach on one end to come out of his box and participate in more of the basketball game than necessary, and then enforce it on the other end. So you have to stay consistent. And not only do you have to stay consistent with those two coaches, you have to stay consistent with all of your other officials, because if tonight I'm going to enforce that coach's box, and tomorrow night, Danny, you're not going to enforce it, then what kind of a message are we sending?
My question would be this. So next year when this starts, so I'm a coach. It's a heated game. It's a tournament championship, a conference rival. Something's happened in the game, so now I've taken the coat off and I'm up and down the sideline. As a coach, am I going to get a bench warning first? If I'm out either talking out of the box, coaching my team, or I'm not even looking at the officials, because I'd be a guy that I wouldn't even look at them. I'd work them, but whatever. If I'm out of the box, am I going to immediately get a technical for being out of the box, or is there going to be a bench warning assessed at the scores table and then a tee? How are you guys being told to do this in the upcoming season?
Well, Danny, that's impossible for me to tell you what's going to happen, because, quite frankly, we are so inconsistent in our application of the rules that no matter what I would do, what I would decide to do, or what our association decides to do, it's not going to be followed completely. So I think at that point, then what you have to do is you have to just look at the coach, and you have to look at the referee, and you have to decide is that referee capable of handling the situation. At a point where I might say, Coach, I'm going to listen to you, but we're going to walk back to your box.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about this back here at your box. At no point do you ever want to become the centerpiece. But at the same time, you also have to have control of the basketball game. But you have to be able to do it for the other guy at the other end, too.
And while we're talking on this subject, and we do have a good listenership and knowledgeable fans up here, and I get this asked to me quite often, and I don't want you to go on and on because I know you got things going on, but briefly, a three-man crew in a high school game. I know you guys have specific areas that you look for certain scenarios of a ball game being in place as officials, three officials.
Yep.
If you see something in another official's area, would you call that violation?
You asking me personally?
Yes.
If I'm watching my territory, and I have nobody in my territory which I'm responsible for, and I see something take place in another person's area, I am going to defer to that person first to make sure he has the first opportunity to call the foul. If he does not, then I'm coming to get it.
I think that is one of the biggest misnomers of a lot of the fans hollering and screaming that I hear from the sidelines, as when broadcasting, or even in grade school. We have some three-man crews in some of our big grade school games that we have in the area. I hear that hollered more so than not, that, well, that referee can't call that, or that referee can't call that. And I just wanted to get that cleared up a little bit for our listeners.
The only thing that I'm going to say is and this is a message that we send, is allow the person whose primary responsibility is that area, allow him the first opportunity to make that call.
Mm-hmm.
And then go get it. bottom line is, guys, we have to referee a basketball game. We can't just pick and choose what we want to call, and we can't decide what we're going to call just because of the territory. We have to get it right. Officiating is the only thing that I've ever known in my life where you walk out onto the floor perfect and expect to get better.
When you look at today, we'll talk about today. There's high school games going on. Guys are working together. Are there officials that are not participating in the game, kind of on the baselines, to work and instruct the officials as the games go on, so those officials who are working games can get better?
Danny, what we've got going on today is pretty remarkable, and I wish that we had a lot more officials. We've got 16 here today. I wish that we had a lot more officials because we go really above and beyond. We have games going on the basketball floor. They are being taped. We have a classroom setting going on to where we're watching videos that have been handed to us from the IHSA that's called You Make the Calls, where they give us a highlight clip of specific plays, and then they're asking us to make the calls. And then return, then after we go through that section, then we're taking the tape of the basketball game that's being played right now, and we're watching it and reviewing it. So people are able to watch themselves on tape. They're able, the first time I ever watched myself referee on tape, I thought, who's that fat guy out there running around? Then I realized that it was me. And then, but you see things that you do, and quite frankly, whenever you watch yourself on tape, you can say, well, I can see why the fans would think that was a bad call. So it's all about educating, and it's all about perfecting something to where we can kind of just walk onto the floor and walk off the floor and not be noticed.
Yeah, and I think that is possible, because I think there's more games that officials work where they're not noticed than are ones that they are noticed. Because I think in the grand scheme of things, with the number of games that everybody does, with the number of calls everybody makes, the percentage of being noticed is way lower than being noticed. I think that's, for us in Southern Illinois, we're extremely spoiled at times with the amount of good officiating that we have, and because of clinics like this, we get more spoiled because the officials that are there today will get more knowledgeable.
Well, we're working awful hard, and I don't know if you can ever walk off the basketball floor calling a perfect game, but I tell you, we can get pretty close, and that's our goal, is to be the very best we can possibly be, to allow the high school experience for all the kids and the fans to be the very best that it could possibly be.
And when you talk about videotaping, I would hope that would also show some guys, because as a coach and as a broadcaster, one thing that sort of bugs me at times, and everybody doesn't do it, but boy, the ones that do could really use some sharpening up on it, is basically the mechanics of reporting at center court.
Hey, listen.
I'll tell you what, that just drives me up a wall sometimes. The mechanics.
Listen, the number one thing that people have to understand when you referee a basketball game is you're a referee until you blow the whistle, and then once you blow the whistle, you become a communicator.
Mm-hmm.
So once you blow, you can referee all you want to, but once you blow that whistle, you better be sound enough in your mechanics and in your positioning to make sure that everybody in that gymnasium knows what you're doing and knows what violation or penalty that you're applying. So communication is very big.
Mike, we know you got
that's what you're referring to, right?
Absolutely,
right, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. I mean, in football, it's different. You can walk gingerly up to that flag and you can pick it up and say, hey, I just accidentally threw it. No problem. But when you're at center court at a basketball game and in these heated gyms and different scenarios, you better be sure what you're getting ready to call. And it's always helpful for a coach or a broadcaster to do their jobs of knowing exactly what's called. And some of these guys' mannerisms is just, I don't know if it's nerves or whatever, they just want to do it so fast and get out of the limelight and move on. But yeah, that's one of my pet peeves.
You have to be a communicator, no doubt.
Speaking of communicating, and we know you got a busy day, because I saw who the teacher was in one of the pictures. I know he's a mean teacher who's running this, so we got to get you back in the gymnasium. Our final question is our social media question of the week, and this week's question is, what superhero would you want to be?
Oh, gee, me.
It's a tough one.
How about underdog?
I like that. That's a good
How about
choice.
underdog? Because you go about your business and nobody knows who you are, and you go into a phone booth and change and come out.
There you go. That's kind of what you do.
Yeah, how about that?
You know, that's kind of interesting. Hey, thanks for joining us. I know you got a busy day. You're working and going on and getting better, and you got a nice clinic and a high school boys basketball at Murfreesboro. Appreciate the time for joining us, and I guess I will see you at the end of July one way or another at the EOA SICA Golf Scramble.
That would be fantastic. We're looking forward to our 12th year there, and hey, guys, listen. We're not going to get them all right. We're not going to be correct all the time.
No.
But the bottom line is as long as we continue to try to get better, the bottom line is for this whole thing is to try to make the experience of the high school athletics, because it's a privilege to be able to participate. It's not something that you take for granted. It's a privilege, and even though we get paid for it, it's not about the money. It's about participation.
And that's the most important thing.
We're working hard to try to be as good as we can possibly be.
Well, we appreciate it. We understand that being on the side of the headsets, and we appreciate working with you guys each and every night out. And Mike, thanks for joining us, and we'll get back together with you before that golf scramble comes up and get a little promotion on it as well.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Mike Austin, one of the best high school officials in Southern Illinois. We're behind on breaks. We got to get one in now. We'll come back and we'll talk about multiple sport athletes in high school, and whether some do, some don't. That's good or bad. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXsports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXsports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXsports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
This is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. It's been said that in order to grow, you have to change. Very rarely anymore do insurance companies ask the phrase to go out and get 3 estimates. The new phrase insurance companies are asking is, would you like to take your vehicle to one of our direct repair facilities? This is a way for your insurance company and collision repair center to help relieve the stress you may have from your unfortunate incident. And, as Landers Collision Centers has adapted to this forever-changing industry, we are extremely happy to announce that we are a direct repair facility for over 10 different insurance companies. It's likely that one of them is yours. From dealing with your insurance company, setting you up with a rental vehicle, lifetime warranty on repairs, and of course, Landers free lifetime detailing for qualified customers, Landers Collision Centers literally takes the stress from your incident and turns it back into a shiny new ride for you to enjoy again. Landers is here for you whenever you need us. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should
All
be.
of our guests this morning brought to you here by WMIX Saturday Sports Show. Tim Kraft, Jim Duncan, Matt Patterson, Chad Harper, and Mike Austin. They all posted their questions on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. The answer to our social media question, what superhero would you want to be? You can also follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. Saturday Sports Show, always every Saturday, 8:08 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm not going to try to throw Jeff Crow off, but let's get another break in, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about 3-sport athletes and things going on and off the field of activity that could hurt or help athletes in their lifetimes. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Learn to live healthy, learn to live well, and learn how you can live free from unexpected medical expense with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance and the Page Agency. Health insurance that covers hospital, medical, and surgical expenses offers a wide choice of deductibles and a non-tobacco user discount too. Rising medical costs don't have to be a problem with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance. This is coverage we hope you'll never need, but you just can't be without. Call the Page Agency at 242-7000 about a major medical health insurance plan today.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. Partly sunny, hot, and humid today with a shower or thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, mainly north of Mount Vernon, high of 91. Mainly clear and muggy tonight with a low 65 to 70. Then tomorrow, hot and humid with partly sunny skies, high 92. Partly sunny Monday, still hot and humid, high 91. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Danny Zawinski with Mike Richardson alongside. Jeff Crow pushing the buttons. Chris Hugo on assignment as we roll down the last 18 minutes of the Saturday Sports Show. And a topic we kind of broached, I guess, in the first hour about high school athletes, multiple sports, multiple not. There's two ways of thinking about it. Well, one, my child's going to be a softball player. They're only going to play softball. They're only going to do this for 12 years. They're going to play school ball. They're going to play travel ball 13 months out of the year. That's all they're going to do. And I only picked on softball because that's one that came to mind. I'm kind of one of those guys that if you can play 2 sports in high school, even though it may not be your best sport, you're staying in shape, you're participating on a team, you're not out doing things that could possibly be doing things you don't need to be doing. The more you're involved, it shows in studies, the more activities you're involved with, the better off you are. To me, the more sports you play, the better off you have to be as a high school athlete.
I have thought about this over the last several years immensely because I've just seen so much of an evolution of this changing. And coaches notice things like this. And to me, I get more of an individual feel for an athlete when they strictly want to, at some point in time, just strictly go to one sport, versus, as we alluded to, you may be a star on that particular sport, and you may be just a good player on the other sport, and maybe your third sport, you're just average. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with being average when you're around a team setting. I think we're losing fact and sight of team goals, team-oriented programs, and how to be a team player. And it's just something I've been paying attention to, and I just don't like seeing talent wasted. And I said that earlier in the show. Talent, you want to display talent. If you're a good athlete, you got to take pride as a coach that I can make this guy a basketball player.
Right.
I can make him run track. I can turn him into a softball player. You've got to have confidence as yourself, but unless you get the commitment from an athlete or an athlete's family to have an opportunity to do so, it's sort of tough. And I think you're putting more individualism versus the team aspect in this whole scenario now of just that one sport, that one trick pony.
I think one of the things that bothers me is when I see kids that could be playing sports during a season, meaning basketball season, volleyball season, football season, whatever, and they elect not to participate in the school sport, but then they go play travel sports. Drives me up a wall. I just think that if you have the opportunity, I'll throw out an example, unless you're LeBron James and you're a top pick and you're the best player in the country in basketball and that's what you're going to go into because you're going to make fill in the blank of millions, go ahead and play basketball 12 years. Right. You're going to get paid. Right. If it's an opportunity, if you're a middling college level player, to me, your best bet is to play 2 or 3 sports in high school. And obviously work's involved in other activities. I understand that as well. But when I look at the Nashvilles, the Bentons, DuQuoins, Harrisburgs of the world, usually you're going to see kids that are playing on multiple teams that have success, and it helps in the schools. But to me, I'm one of those that the busier you are as a kid, whether it's athletics or extracurriculars, the better off you are. And I just think that when you stray from the fact of Well, I'm not playing basketball this year because I'm going to play travel fill in the blank. I just, that bothers me at that point because you could be helping your classmate out that's sitting there playing their best sport, even though it's not your best sport, but you could be helping out.
This happened about 5 or 6 years ago. I took some of our kids in our summer program. We went to Hazelwood Central High School in Missouri, and we got into a basketball tournament. And we were playing different teams, and the coaches would always mingle together before a game started. How you doing? Where you from? All the small talk in general. And I'd always refer, we're a school team, and they would always sort of give me a whimsical look of, well, what do you mean school team? All of our kids go to school. I said, well, we're from one grade school, and I was amazed in the Missouri area. Around St. Louis, Hazelwood, some places, that they don't even emphasize grade school basketball. They don't even implement grade school sports because they have so many boys clubs and the travel this and the travel that. I cannot imagine being an athlete wanting to play for somebody more or less individually versus playing for my school. There is nothing that I get a bigger kick out of as winning something as a group with our school, our travel teams, or whatever we do. I just can't get it. I just don't understand what it's all about. And I had the opportunity to do things at the end of my career and end up as an adult with softball and traveling around to places, but still it was more the local guys and the guys that I play with. It wasn't some of this other that's going on, and I find it very disheartening that you can't play for the school or that team or whatever, that you've got to seek other avenues.
And again, it's I know travel has the AAU is a necessary evil, I should say, because you got to do it if you're wanting to get. To me, if you're good enough and you're good enough at your sport, you're going to get a look. You play travel to get another look, to get people playing and everything else. That's fine. But I think when you talk about three sports, we're talking about high school specifically or grade school, the more you play, the more of an athlete, the better you become. You don't get out of shape. You can play. And that's why I recommend, especially at smaller schools, and smaller schools, I mean river to river down, you have to, they need athletes. They got to share athletes. And that's why we've had people and coaches on before talking about sharing athletes. It can be done. You can play multiple sports. I look at Nashville girls program. They're everywhere. Volleyball, basketball, softball. They share each other. They play. You can do it. If you're good enough, you're going to get your look. Somebody's going to get you're going to see the name on the back of the jersey. But again, the three-sport athlete is starting to become more rare and rare because everybody wants their child to be the best player, shortstop, quarterback, whatever.
Yeah, and you can be in the weight room. And you can make weightlifting a sport. You can make CrossFit training a sport. You can do any of that. But anytime you're in there, regardless of the sport, there's different muscle groups that you're hitting as any sport there is out there. You can do different training through that.
Right.
And you can still get your 12 months a year's training, but you don't have to worry about just doing it one sport-wise. You can do two. You can do three. And that's what I'm saying. I'm beating a dead horse here, but I just hate seeing athletes not be athletes. That's just it's sad for me as a coach. I want to see that if she's that good of a Tyra Buss, for instance, at the Crossroads. I mean, look at her do anything and we could go on and on and on with everything she's done and attempted. And that's pretty fun. That's pretty cool watching her do all this.
Yeah, tennis, volleyball, basketball,
and
track.
her best sport, everybody says, is boys baseball, but she can't play baseball.
Right.
Got to play softball.
Right.
So, I mean, there you go there. And I like seeing talent. I like kids running and jumping and playing softball and basketball. Volleyball is a tremendous sport to watch being played, too. We talk about soccer. We've talked about it today. You can't tell me when I had to travel summer team with the Harrisons, all the boys, how soccer implemented their physical play and their being in shape when we played basketball. I mean, they were off charts. And that went together good. So just make sure they go together and don't have dead time. Just go from one sport. I don't like the dead time.
Yep.
You know.
And the kids need to be kids in the summer. I'm all for that dead period and everything else. But, three-sport athletes and multiple sports and whatnot, that's kind of going by the wayside. Another topic that we'll get to after this next break, talent, money, and people around you. What can and can't do. That kind of starts when you're young and builds your way up. We'll talk about that from this kind of level of the big news story in the sports world. We'll talk about that after this break. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
The 2013 Dodge Avenger has no interest in blending in, and neither should you. Hi, Roy Schmidt Dodge dealer at King City Chrysler in Mount Vernon. Stand out in the all-new Avenger. From its crosshair grille to ring-of-fire tail lamps, the Dodge Avenger takes an aggressive stance that's impossible to ignore. It's also impossible to ignore $3,000 in customer cash or 0% financing for 72 months. But it is what's inside that really counts. And with premium materials and soft-touch surfaces, the interior of the 2013 Avenger gets you there more comfortably than ever. Plus, those incentives leave your wallet a little more comfortable as well. See our selection online at KingCityChrysler.com or visit with one of our associates at King City Chrysler Center, 1603 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and find us on Facebook.
Tell me no truth, I'm on all of your lines.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
And we wrap up a final 7 or 8 minutes here. Talking about another topic that's been in sports this week. New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez, who has got himself in a pickle. I don't think they're going to come back next week and go, oops, our mistake, misunderstanding. We didn't think anything was going on. Mike, we're kind of trying to base this on high school and junior high and stuff, college. When you have, and I never had the talent or size or muscle Aaron Hernandez has, you get that talent, you get drafted. The man's played in a Super Bowl and an AFC Conference Championship game in his first couple of years of pros. And now finds himself on the wrong side. He may never, ever see another football field again with what's going on. I mean, it's too much talent, too much money, maybe the wrong choice of friends. I mean, it's one of those things you hopefully learn as a youngster that, hey, pick and choose who you hang around with, because if and when you make it big, you may not like those people at that point who are using you for what you have.
And that's the problem. The money come back. Then New England knew, well, they couldn't do without him, so then here comes the big money. And, going back just a little bit, he would have been a number 1 draft pick, but his past caught up with him right before draft time when they started delving into his personal life a little bit, and he dropped to the 4th or 5th round, I believe, something like that. So there was some questions to begin with, but you would think you get into a good program, around some good people, you can be swayed over and you hope your professional life now, you are above some normal things. You really are. And I think that's where us as a society, that's where our downfall is. We do put these guys up on pedestals. But then you get into the question of, well, that's not right. If he was a friend of Johnny before he got famous and everything, he should still be Johnny's friend. Well, when does Johnny start doing things at an older age that it's a little bit mischievous to maybe sneak into a store and slip a pack of gum in your pocket versus slipping down the street and taking a car? The older you get, the crimes escalate a little bit too. You have to, some point in time, you've got to differentiate yourself from some of your past. That's all there is to it.
And then this goes back to being athletes when you're growing up. Because sometimes, when you're an athlete and you're on a team, and we're speaking from the athletic standpoint, this goes for extracurriculars, normal student, whatever. When you're on sports teams and stuff, you're under a microscope a little bit. People are watching you, not only on the floor, but off the floor. You get a little pub. Somebody's watching, you may not like it. So you're under that microscope. This goes back to choosing who you run with. And you can be friends with anybody. But if you're an athlete and you're out and your buddy who doesn't do anything but go to school and works a job is out and they're breaking the law, and you're an athlete and you're there, who's going to get the most public recognition? It won't be your buddy who doesn't play sports. It'll be you. That comes back to growing up and to understanding the situation you're in, I think, of picking your friends, because your friends may not actually be your friends. They're there to maybe do their thing, and if they get you in trouble, great, because your friend may not have anything to lose like you do.
Choices. And kids are going to be hit with choices their whole lives. As adults, you're going to have choices. And it still boils down to right and wrong, black and white. There's no in between in any of these things. You do things the right way, or you fudge and do things in gray area. But that is a problem, and I think it's society with kids. They've got to learn this, and that's where I think you're putting yourself, and it sort of ties in a little bit to multiple sports, or maybe helping out. You may be an umpire in Little League if you're a teenager or something, but you're around good people, you're around good friends and things, and you're always going to have decisions and choices to make. And you just got to make sure you make the right ones. But you got to be observant of things too. You've got to. In his situation, it's really going to get bad, and I think this weekend or the first part of the week, it's going to get worse for him. And it's sad. And as we said earlier in the program, not only just for him, but for a loss of a life, and then that young man's family as well.
It's a case of, where you have to understand your situation. And like we said, you pick your friends, sometimes you get to pick your friends, sometimes your friends pick you. And in this case, you and I will never know the talent that this guy has. You and I will never know the money this guy has. You and I will never have to make that choice of those people. And for him, I never understood it. I mean, if you want to go out and eat, good. If you want to go to a club, good. But he's in a situation, he can get someone to drive, he can have security, he can have this, but now, as you said, he finds himself in a situation where he may never see the football field again, because, when you start talking about evidence being destroyed and whatnot, you're running down a pike with people you may or may not be with. It'll be choices that he made, and it's a shame because his career could be done.
And with the power that comes along with that money, also that seedy friend that might know another seedy friend, here's where money comes into play. I need that taken care of. I don't care how, just get it done. And we start going down those paths, that's when it just snowballs into what has happened now. And hey, we've seen it in the past without mentioning names, taking guns into a club, road rage, pulling up to a stop sign and getting tapped in the rear, pulling a gun out and shooting a vehicle. I mean, these things are not isolated instances.
Mm-hmm.
They're some things that just happen with young men who may not be mentally mature enough to handle the fame, the notoriety, the money, the house, the cars, everything, and it's just a tough situation on a lot of people.
We talk about Aaron Hernandez and his situation in the hopes that if there's high school and junior high kids listening or parents out there, make sure you stress to your children and your athletes as coaches too that be careful who you run with, be careful who you're out there with as a young age, because if you were to get to that situation and point, you need to make the right choices as well. We bring that up. Most sure we'll talk about three-sport athletes and the Aaron Hernandez situation more in the future. To all of our guests who joined us today on the Saturday Sports Show, we appreciate them joining us. It is another good show. It'll be archived at WMIXsports.com. You can follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports or Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Thank you for listening. NBC News starts now.
From Paducah to Peoria, Evansville to St. Louis, this is AM 940 WMIX Mount Vernon, the free service from Withers Broadcasting.